Hello and welcome. My name is Tiffany Hill Cook. I run a spiritual practice called the Healing Hill, and my channel is designed to remind people that they are loved and love simply because it is true. I have a mission in this life to help people fall back in love with themselves. Today's episode 5, is going to be about relationships. More specifically, I had a question come from a friend today, and this also showed up in a session with a client as well. It was about relationships with individuals who are in unhealthy relationships. That was a mouthful. People have friendships where the friend is in an unhealthy relationship. How do they manage that? Because it is clearly influencing the individual who is not in the relationship. So if what I share with you today resonates on a soul level and you would like one-on-one time with me, I will put my bookings page in the description. I promise you the law of attraction is how the universe works. So if you found me today, it is not an accident. Honor yourself, act on that inspired thought, and believe in the unseen. I'll see you soon. Alrighty, so episode 5 of the Healing Hill. How do you help a friend or show up for a friend who is in an unhealthy relationship? The verb that you use could vary. Manage, help, support. What almost came out of my mouth was change. You cannot change anybody. Change is an inside-out job. It is solicited from inside. Think about something that I am a former smoker. I smoked for, I get we're talking about relationships. I like stories, so we're gonna bunny hop around this, go down some rabbit holes. I started smoking when I was 17, and I quit ingesting nicotine when I was 35. I had people tell me hundreds of times to quit. It could have been my parents, it could have been people in my inner circle, it could have been commercials. And it wasn't until I knew that the behavior that I was exhibiting was no longer manageable that I decided to make a change. So, the first thing that I would say to an individual that has observed a certain characteristic in a relationship of their friends is, you're not responsible for them. You have no true idea what that person is experiencing. You simply are getting a regurgitation, a story, a narrative that your friend is sharing with you based off of their own life experiences, based off of their own life's trauma, based off of their own personality. And so that isn't even necessarily reality. So, the one thing that you do not want to do is perceive that there's a problem to begin with. Because the moment that you project onto someone that there's a problem, you're inherently telling them that they're a victim, because they're clearly powerless to the situation and they don't know how to fix it. Imagine someone telling that to you. Probably go tell them to fuck off. So the first thing that you have to, when you are entering into relationships, is to not have an expectation of that person. You allow, encourage, or discourage behaviors. So if you have a relationship with someone and a majority of the time spent with that person involves the negative, toxic, and unhealthy relationship that they are engaged with in a partnership with someone else, that is something that you are allowing. It is on you at that point in time to make a few different choices. This is where we absolutely have free will and freedom of choice. You can allow that person to continue to live in what they call the definition of insanity, which is experiencing this exact same thing every day or doing the same behaviors, but ultimately expecting different results. So you can support that person and be a listening ear without any judgment, because remember, you're not going to change this person. You are never going to change anyone. You've got to get that idea out of your mind. The only thing that you can change is yourself. So you can listen, and the value, the core value I would apply to that would be acceptance. You can accept the situation and the person for what is. Another option is to set a new boundary. You can, I'm going to back up here because there was a story that was just told to me, and it was, how do you, if you've allowed certain behaviors to continue, to all of a sudden say, I want to make a change here? That feels like, I don't feel like I have the ability to do that. It would be confusing to that person or unfair. The only person that it's confusing to and unfair to is yourself. You have the ability to change your mind, to change what you allow at any moment, at any time. A lot of times we don't know that a boundary has been crossed until it has. And you go, ooh, I didn't like the way that felt. So then you've got to reconcile what happened exactly. And then you go, okay, I'm not going to allow this anymore, with the hopes of deterring that, that ow again. So you can set up a new boundary and say, I am not comfortable. I don't accept. You no longer have permission to discuss XYZ with me. If that's not something that you can agree to, then the nature of our relationship is going to change. But in its current state, the complaining about the other person, the observation that you're having of the way that the partnership is affecting you, it's no longer working for you. Remember, nothing in life is about anybody else. That whole "it's not you, it's me," that goes for everything. So you can, with that friend who is in an unhealthy, a perceivably unhealthy relationship, remember, you have your own life experiences, you have your own lenses. You don't know what's truly going on. You are making an assessment or a judgment based off of your vista, your vantage point. And at the end of the day, you get to decide what and who you allow into your energy. And if when you are with this friend, low vibrational energy, anger, complaining, contempt, judgment is being incited, you can actually make a new boundary and not allow certain things to be discussed or talked about in your relationship. So the first is acceptance of just what is, and knowing that you cannot change any person or anyone, and so you accept the person for their experience and what it is. It's like utter reverence, like the angels. They have no criticalness in their beings. So acceptance. You can make a new boundary and ask that that friend honors it. Or the third thing is, if you know in your bones, this is what I do know, is we meet people for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And too often we meet people for a reason or a season and we hold on to them for a lifetime, and we're miserable because of it. There's something that we are taught that we've got to hold, even with reference to family, that you have to hold on to individuals that aren't serving you anymore. Gotta let them go. So it may be that the relationship has run its course, and the most loving and honorable thing that you can do is let one another go. So, to reiterate, what I am talking about with you is you having a friendship with someone who is in an unhealthy relationship. You are not going to be their savior. It is unreasonable for you to think that you are. It is not helpful for you to judge that relationship. You judging that relationship does not change it. There is a great book written by Eckhart Tolle. I think it was his first book, and it's called A New Earth. And he's got a variety of anecdotal stories in it. And I do not remember this one verbatim, but I'm still going to tell it anyway. If you do remember the story, then put it in the comments. Help a sister out. So how it goes is, give me a moment. There's this journey or quest that individuals can make, but it's also very entwined in the Buddhist theology and culture. And in this story, there is a group of Buddhist monks that are making their way up this passage. And along the trail, this group of monks runs into this woman. I think she was with other individuals, but she runs into this woman, and the feeling that I got, again, I don't remember the words exactly, is that this woman was overdressed for the walk. And there was some water or maybe some muddy ground, and part of this pilgrimage is supposed to be about humility and about finding yourself. And it's, albeit you're doing it with a group of people, it's somewhat of a solo journey. And one of the monks decided to put this woman on his back and carry her over this section of land. He put the woman down and continued on his journey. And about 4 hours later, one of the fellow monks says to the monk who had carried the woman, "I can't believe that you carried that woman across that land." And the monk who had carried the woman said, "I set her down 4 hours ago. You're the one who is still carrying her." I tell that story because how does that relate to your relationship with this friend? Let's say your friend comes and shares with you the way that their partner is, being deceptive, gaslighting them. Maybe they're being physically abusive. I mean, there is a variety of ways in which a relationship can be unhealthy. and you get off the phone with that person, but you're still thinking about your friend who's in the unhealthy relationship for 3 days, you're still carrying that woman. So you have got to release any responsibility, you're having an expectation of someone. Expectations is like the devil's work. There's a really great book written by Napoleon Hill, and I think it's called Outwitting the Devil. And it was written in the early 1900s, and the book is about the ways in which the devil shows up in our life. For example, flattery is a form of the way in which the devil can show up in your life. You're willing to do certain things that are out of your authentic and true nature in order to receive flattery. So having an expectation of yourself or someone else is a recipe for disaster. Things are or they are not. So you have got to let go of any expectations of your friend in this relationship. You can set up boundaries, you can leave the relationship as a whole, but for you to judge them, because again, when you're judging them, you're inherently telling them, even if it's just with energy, maybe you haven't said it verbally, that there's some sort of issue, that you're a problem and you need fixing. They're not a problem and they don't need fixing. They are, I can promise you, in a karmic cycle. And this is the ironic thing. They could point the finger at your life. There's got to be many things that you are in a karmic cycle about that you have zero awareness of, because it's part of your karma. So instead of pointing the finger, pull the thumb. Instead of pointing the finger, pull the thumb. Nothing or nobody should be able to trigger or incite any type of emotion in you. It's like the example that was just given to me is a stranger saying fuck you, and then your son or daughter saying fuck you. It's the same words, yet one is probably going to be a bit more impactful. It's more familial. You've got a closer connection. But you still give those words meaning. You can decide that that's just merely a projection of that person, and what that person says actually says nothing about me personally. You get to decide. So, let's see what else here. In that moment when you're starting to observe issues in another person, take that energy and move it inward and say, why am I being triggered right now by somebody else? That's where the work can really happen, is when you start to heal the way in which you're being impacted. What a beautiful gift to just be able to sit there and listen to someone. The world could use more active listeners. I'll guarantee you that. Instead of somebody going, all right, I'm going to go fix you now. Just listen. Some of the most impactful conversations that I've had that have inspired the most change are when I have somebody who's actively listening and I can hear myself for the first time. I'm going, wow, instead of somebody trying to fix me. So take that energy that you want to project onto another person based off of your perception of their unhealthy relationship. And again, it may be unhealthy, but you're not in it. So remove yourself, relinquish yourself from the responsibility of fixing it. It's not your problem. You're your own problem. You are only responsible for yourself. Even if you have children who are in relationships where you don't necessarily approve of the significant other, you can deny them to see the other person, but I can guarantee you, where there is a will, there's a way. I was a child once. We are very inventive individuals. So you can, tell somebody not to be with them, even when you do have power over them in the form of being a parent. They're still going to figure out a way. So the best thing that you can do is Show them what healthy looks like. Don't tell them. Show them what a healthy relationship looks like. The best way to help somebody else love themselves is to show them what love looks like by loving yourself, by honoring yourself, by having healthy relationships with yourself. And like attracts like. So I can tell you, I don't have people in my life that have relationships that are dysfunctional, because I don't have space or capacity for that. I spent a lot of my life living in dysfunction, so I can sniff it from a mile away. Now, does that not mean that we have good days and bad days, and sometimes we have stretches of time where we're in a funk? Without a doubt. But if you're coming to me with issues, I don't even use the word drama, but that was a word that was just presented. I don't have much capacity for it. I'm all about helping individuals get redirected on their course, because I can tell you I'm a flawed individual. That's what to err is human, to forgive is divine. So it's not that I am self-righteous in the fact that I am perfect. We are all perfect. We were made in the image of God, so we are all perfect. What I do know is that I honor my feelings, and when I start to feel a certain kind of way, that means that there's an imbalance in relationship to the energy that I'm giving. It's not equal. I'm not getting the same in return. Something that's important to me is sharing of conversation. When I feel somebody's talking so much, all of a sudden I feel drained. Well, because I'm not being able to contribute to the conversation, and that's very important to me. And so I'm able to either make a demand around the fact that, my feelings and my needs are not being honored, or I can at that time just decide to move forward. You don't owe anybody anything. So how we started this conversation was, what do I do when I have a friend who's in an unhealthy relationship? And to sum this up, is it has nothing to do with the friend. It has everything to do with yourself. You cannot change them. You cannot help them. The best way to be a positive influence is to love yourself, is to honor yourself. Take that energy that you want to go fix them and put it towards yourself. You can accept them, you can make a new boundary, or you can move on from the friendship. Those are the three main options. But you can always work on yourself. You can always work on healing the ways in which somebody else triggers you. That's the beauty of relationships. That's why people come into our lives. I'm single right now, and I have done a lot of healing in the last couple of years. I have not dated anybody. The only way for me to truly see how the healing I've done shows up in a relationship is to be in one. I can practice what a healthy argument would look like by myself, but it's not really gonna work until I'm actually in the thick of things with a person to see, am I being an active listener? Am I getting defensive? Am I trying to seek to understand what this other person is feeling? Am I truly honoring my feelings? So let's see, is there anything else that Spirit wants to share? You can do this. You can do this. And every time that you go to meet up with that friend for coffee and something inside of you is going, oh, I want to say something. Oh, I want to say something. Then do it. Don't talk about it. Be about it. That is the most annoying thing ever. Talking about it. Be about it. Action, inspired thought, follow it with action. You've got to honor it. You've got to trust it. Or you're going to continue to attract people. Let's say that friendship fizzles. Unless you know how to honor yourself and set up some sort of boundary in relationship to that type of behavior, you're going to have another friend that comes, that the universe has an invisible thread that you're going to bump into, and what do you know? They've got a shitty relationship too. You will continue to attract the same people, same experiences, because it's all energy, until you alter your alignment to that. I hope that this helped today. Know that there is hope. Like, you literally in this moment can make a conscious choice to show up differently, and I can guarantee you the rest of your life will be different. Once you make that conscious change, your subconscious is now in the conscious state. Amen. So be it. It's done. It is history. So let's see here. You are important. Your needs are important. Honor yourself. Trust yourself. Love yourself. The most important relationship that you will ever have in this life is the one with yourself. The more love you have for yourself is as a byproduct, the more love that you're going to have for another person. The more respect you have for yourself, the more respect you're going to have for other people. It's this beautiful relationship associated to energy and the law of attraction. You can do this. Drop me a message in the comments if you're experiencing something similar and you've practiced some of the things that I shared with you today. What was the result? Maybe this video doesn't necessarily resonate for you, but you know somebody that it would be helpful for. Forward this to them. Share it on another social media site. Save it for yourself for later, so so that you have a reminder of what to do when this happens. Yeah, that's what I've got for today. Gentle reminder, if you want help, more additional help, one-on-one help with me. I mean, this is essentially one-on-one. You and I are having a conversation right now. It's a bit more one-sided. I can't quite hear you necessarily. You can book with me. I will put my bookings page in the description. My website is the name of my company. It's The Healing Hill. My name is Tiffany Hill Cook. Signing off for today. We'll see you later.